Hi, welcome to the premiere episode of our Real Stories Leadership Series for the Canadian real estate industry. I'm your host, Chandran Fernando of Matrix360, and we're very excited to partner and collaborate with Informa Canada to deliver a platform for leaders to share their experiences. The intent of our dialogue is to engage with business leaders as they share their wisdom, insights, and examples of impact leadership. So before we commence, a little tidbit about Matrix360. We are an advisory platform that bridges the human experience with business innovation. It is with great privilege and responsibility that we at Matrix Search partner and advocate for people in our industry, which is real estate. And today, we are very excited to be here at the RealCapital Forum in Toronto, Canada, because we are honored to be joined by Moray, Tawse, co-founder and executive vice president of mortgage investments of First National Financial. Welcome, Moray.
Thanks very much for having me. It's exciting to be here. It's exciting to think that I'm worth having to tell my story. So I'm very excited about being here and really happy to be able to hopefully help some of the younger people out and help them develop some career path skills.
Amazing. So to kickstart the conversation here, if you could think back of your journey, and if you could describe a moment that you have experienced in your career that made a positive impact on you.
You know, I think the biggest part of our journey, when I think back, we're going back to 1988, so we're going back, quite a long time. When we started the company, just having the confidence in yourself to leave what was a very cushy job with a financial institution and sort of have the confidence in yourself that you can step out and you can do something better, you can be something better. Mm-hmm. I think that's the hardest part for young people. It's believing in themselves and believing that they can be more than they are and they are better than what they're doing now. And I think that's most important. For me, that big step out period when we decided to go out, we'd start, which was a very innovative mortgage bank at the time. There wasn't really any of them. Mm-hmm. Securitization in the market was just starting. And it was an exciting time, and to think that two individuals, myself and my partner Stephen Smith, we could sort of step out and really create our own financial institution with really no equity, or very, very little equity. So, I mean, that was a great moment, and we started to build it from day one. And we realized our skill set was we understood our products, and for me, the skill set was I was good with people. And to me, that is the key. You've got to be comfortable with yourself, confident with yourself, and confident meeting other people, even when they're more experienced than you, they're in higher positions with you. You've got to have the confidence to be able to set up and say, hey, I'm a smart person, and we can have a relationship together. And I think that's really, really important. It's always been one of my skill sets.
So how would you kickstart that conversation for someone who's just in the industry for less than 2 years or 5 years experience to meeting a leader like yourself or a manager or direct
I think the hardest thing for someone just starting the industry, maybe a younger person, maybe not a younger person, but you've got to have the confidence that you have something in your personality or your knowledge base or ideas you have is something that people want to hear about. Mm-hmm. And you can walk up to them and believe that you're strong enough that you can take that person, bring that person in and make him interested in you. And that's always the key. You can do it through a social circle, you can do it through, if you've done the research. I think the key always when you meet people is do your research, understand who they are, what they do, what their thought patterns, and it's quite easy in today's marketplace to figure out the person you're meeting. For all our young people, I say you've got to do a full workup before you go and see something.
Really, right?
Exactly.
Which is great.
Exactly.
So taking that question, the next question is, if you could share with us an impactful lesson that you have learned throughout your journey that has shaped you to the leader that you are today.
I think the hardest part, because really on almost all jobs, there's a bit of sales to it. And being to go in really excited about something and have it fail miserably, have someone have no interest in you, is really, really hard. And you've got to be able to pick yourself up and go out and do it again. And I feel that some of the youth today that we see in the industry, that's their hardest part. They just can't sort of walk out, get their hand out and try and get in front of people. Because all businesses, not just the real estate business, all business is about getting out in front of people, meeting people, and getting to know you. And that's critical in all businesses.
So it's really about building the relationship and kickstarting that conversation piece and say, hi, I'm Chandran. Moray, nice to meet you.
Absolutely.
And sort of understand your background, understand my background, and how we could actually connect it to a potential,
I think when you're young, people don't expect you to have a lot of knowledge. So you don't have to worry that you're not as knowledgeable as these people. What you have to do is show them that you're bright, you're interested in understanding them and understanding their business, and trying to develop that relationship that you can build with. And that's, when you're younger joining an industry, when you're approaching senior people, they're going to have a lot more knowledge than you. But you've got to use your resources, bring people that do have the knowledge, facilitate meetings, not just do it yourself, facilitate other partners in your company that have the same knowledge base. That's a really important thing. Getting in front of a client and getting to like you and want to do business with you is the most critical part, I think, in that business.
So let's take you back into 20 minutes, when you were 20 years old. What are some critical lessons and advice that you have learned in your journey in the last 30 years that if you were able to go back in time and speak to yourself at the age of 20 plus, what would that advice be?
It's so long ago, it's a really hard question.
2 years, right?
I rode up on my horse.
Walked 100 miles, right? Yeah.
Hard work.
Yes.
Hard work, I think, is the key to being successful in everything. Really trying to do a really good job and make an impression. Yes. And I learned that early, where I would sort of stand back and feel that I wasn't important, I shouldn't be there, I wasn't worthy of talking to these people. Yes. And then I decided that if I was going to make myself known in the industry, that I had to get out and I had to reach out. And there's disasters, there's collapses, people telling you, don't ever call me again, you don't know anything, why are you even bothering me? But you've got to get back on your horse, try to learn what you don't know in the industry, and keep calling on that. And I think that was the key to me. You have to have determination to be a person that can get out and meet people, because that's very, very critical, I think, in this business.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, if we look at the workplace as it's today, and reflecting on your career, are there any factors that you have noticed in the last 30 years that have affected employees in the workplace?
Kids that are coming into the business these days, younger people, they're smart. They're tech savvy. They're very tech savvy. It's almost embarrassing how we have to go to the youth in our organization. How do we do this? How do we do that? But being tech savvy, to me, is almost a little bit negative, because you're just not in front of the people. You rely too much. They want to send an email to somebody rather than pick up the phone and call people. And I think that's the biggest difference I see. People now are more, well, I can send a message, I can do a Facebook. They don't want to get in. You don't get rejected on those things. Yes, they don't have the same, feel the need for that human connection. And I think that's what makes people stand apart, is that human connection. Yeah,
which is true. So going with this is, I want to share some interesting stats, according to the latest stats from Stats Canada. So 82% of the Canadian population live in large and medium-sized centers, cities, across the country. And this is one of the highest concentrations among G7 nations. So knowing this fact, and according to our latest Matrix Canadian Real Estate Diversity and Workplace Survey that we've conducted, in Ontario, I'm not sure if you're aware, that 52% of the population are women, are females, while less than 34% of women are in leadership positions. That's a data fact. And another data fact is, in Ontario, between 35% and 54% of the working population in urban centers are visible minorities. Not a particular fan of that word, but really, groups who are from racial or ethnic visible groups, we'll call it, right? But while they only are in 25% or less in leadership positions. So knowing these high-level data points, share with us what you personally think that the industry is doing to acknowledge some of these areas in the workplace as we grow and we push the real estate community business.
I think you've got to look back to, going back to the industry into the 80s.
Yes, absolutely.
And going back to, we're going to talk about Toronto, being in Toronto. I grew up in Toronto. Yeah. I went to school in Toronto. I went to school in Etobicoke, northern Etobicoke. 100% white.
Yeah.
And so that's what you grew up with.
Yes.
We all went out and we all got jobs.
Yeah.
And it was, that was a good picture of what Toronto looked like at the time. Then we had the 1990s real estate and the crash, and that lasted for 10 years. Mm-hmm. And we missed a whole generation of young people coming through. So if you look at the real estate industry now, there's a lot of old guys in this period. And so what we did miss was some of the diversification, women in the business, because we just didn't bring any youth. There were no jobs at that period of time. Yeah. And so, part of, you look at the development side was very male orientated. Yes. And so, but I think it's different now. You look at First National as a rule, we are very, very ethnically diverse. Mm-hmm. We think that's important. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I don't think we even think about it anymore. Mm-hmm. You take the person, whether it's male or female, no matter what their background is, you decide if they're a good fit for your company or not. Yeah. And I think we've come a long, long way. This business is still male dominated. Yes. On the development side. Yes. But I don't think on the lending side it's not. But a woman does have to come in, and they got to work harder. And we have very successful women in our team, but they're the hardest workers. Yeah. And so it's not quite an equal. I
would love to touch that topic and further go down with it. But with knowledge of your time and and respect of you, I want to move to another section about back to you. As you know, as I shared with everyone, is our Real Stories Leadership Series is focused on the wisdom, knowledge, and experiences that leaders like you who have built this industry to become great, to make it greater with your knowledge and your wisdom. So saying this, and because we're so appreciative of what you have done for Canada and the entire real estate industry on a global scale, what footprint would you like to leave as your legacy in this business community we call real estate?
I think our footprint is already left. I mean, we started in 1988, we started a small mortgage banking firm with 2 people. Mm-hmm. We've grown now to a company that has assets of over $100 billion under administration, 1,000 employees right across the country, and we built it ourselves. Yes. We didn't have huge institutional equity behind us. Mm-hmm. Every person we brought on, and I could name you employees number 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, 40. That's what I'm proud of. We have people that have come and they never leave us. Mm-hmm. They work with us to the end. We just had someone that joined us in 1988, just retired. She was 70. Wow. She just did not want to leave. She loved the people so much.
So that speaks to your leadership because, from what you started, having the tenacity to go against the grain, to build from scratch, to actually pay attention, and for you to say that you're able to recognize your number 2 employee and this individual who just recently retired, that speaks volumes of how you're actually a real, true leader, that you actually value people. And at the end of the day, it's all about that, and it's great to see. So saying that is one word. We're going to play this game. One word to describe you, an adjective to describe you. Not the company, but you. What would that be for you?
I would say team builder.
Team builder?
Team builder would be what I'm most proud of. I tend to bring younger employees in and take them under my wing and say, you know what, I like you, and you know what, I want you on our team, and I want you on our team for your whole career. Yes. And to me, that's very important. And we have young people on that team, old people on the team, but everyone has that feel of, geez, we're here together. And even though it's a public company now, they still say, this is Moray and Steve's company. I'm really proud to work here, and I'm proud to tell people that I work with him. And to me, that's the greatest part of the business.
Well, Moray, thank you, because your sense of purpose as a leader, it's very clear and evident with how you've grown your company in the last 30 years, and it's very successful. And on behalf of Matrix360, Informa Canada, and the young leaders who are watching this and who will be watching this, thank you so much. Please continue to inspire us, and hopefully we could continue this conversation with more thought leadership.
Thank you, and I'm honored to be invited to even be part of this, so thank you very, very much.
Thanks so much. Take care.